Welcome to the Sharkpreneur Podcast with Kevin Harrington and Seth Green. Kevin Harrington is the inventor of the infomercial, one of the original sharks from the hit TV show Shark Tank, and has generated over $5 billion in TV and digital direct response sales. Seth Green is the world's first trusted authority on cutting-edge direct response marketing, a best-selling author, and the only 3-time Marketer of the Year nominee. On the podcast, Kevin and Seth interview sharkpreneurs who share straight talk on what it takes to explode your business.
49 faces looked to him in triumph. Over the last 12 months, they had each taken turns and promoted his business for a week at a time, driving over $987,342 in revenue. What if you had a network of 50 centers of influence who promoted your business every week for a year? Grab your copy of the #1 Amazon best-selling book, The Ultimate Guide to Growing Your Business with a Podcast, at 33% off the Amazon price by going to ultimatepodcastbook.com. Again, that website for 33% off the Amazon price is ultimatepodcastbook.com. Welcome to the podcast. This is your co-host, Seth Green. Today, I have the good fortune to be interviewing Heather Udo from Shoppable. Your ads made shoppable infrastructure for the internet, which enables commerce everywhere. I can't wait to dive in. Heather, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Seth.
Our pleasure. So let's go back in time. How did you and Shoppable get started?
Yeah, so I started Shoppable out of a personal frustration that I had as a consumer, because as consumers, we're discovering products all around us. But rewind 10 years. Plus, you could only purchase products when you were on a dedicated e-commerce website. And any of the other amazing places you discover products, whether it's on social media or content sites, publishing sites, in ads, all the other places, were not shoppable. And I felt like as consumers that if you discover a new product and you're willing to pay money to purchase these products, that the retailers and the brand should make it as easy as possible to do so. So what I did, I had been working at another startup. We had just recently exited and decided that I needed to kind of go and figure out, one, could this be done? And two, why hadn't someone else done it before? Was I missing something? And, went down the rabbit hole and eventually decided to jump in with 2 feet.
Got it. Okay. So what is your definition? Because I'm imagining that people listening are having the same reaction I am, going, well, wait a minute, I can buy online. So what does shoppable mean? What is the problem that you're solving?
Yeah, the problem that we're solving is we are solving for removing, typically it's between 15 and 20 clicks that a shopper would have to take from going from discovering a product and then redirecting to a point where they can actually purchase the product from a retailer. So what we do is, instead of making the consumer track down the product, whether they're going into Google or redirecting to a merchant site, we flip that on its head and we bring Shoppable's patented checkout technology to where the consumer is. So we're powering gift guides for big publishers. We're powering brand websites for a lot of the Fortune 50, Fortune 500 brands and advertisers. And then we're powering shoppable ads on TikTok and social media.
Okay, so that is absolutely incredible. So let's do a deeper dive on what the shoppable technology means, because it sounds like you built a better mousetrap.
We did. So what Shoppable is we've integrated with hundreds of different retailers. So we're working with the largest retailers in the world, the Walmarts, the Best Buys of the world, Target, Ulta Beauty, all the big ones. So we've integrated their entire product catalog into one big product catalog, and then we've integrated all of their checkouts into Shoppable's single checkout technology. And then those two pieces we license out. We're a software business. We license the technology to companies that want to create these shoppable experiences where you can think about them having kind of a one-click buy it now button, and that's Shoppable.
So one, that sounds like a mammoth amount of work when you talk about like an Ulta Beauty, which my wife and daughters are rabid fans of. When you talk about their entire catalog, that sounds like thousands, if not tens of thousands of SKUs. And then if you think about somebody like a Walmart, doesn't theoretically, I could go to Walmart.com, find the thing, add to my cart, go through their checkout process, and you're right, it's way harder than, let's say, buying on Amazon. So it sounds like you're creating the whole, one click technology that Amazon has, but for everybody else. Am I understanding that right?
You're exactly right. Exactly right.
Awesome. Okay. So first, how the heck do you pull? How do you, from an infrastructure perspective, how do you pull that off? If you've got like, forget about Ulta, you got a company like Walmart. God, they may have, I can't even imagine, hundreds of thousands of SKUs. Like, how do you manage that amount of data?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. So we have 500 million products in Shoppable's database today, so across all major categories. But it was it was certainly a technical feat that we had to be able to really solve for being able to get not just that many products integrated, but then as you kind of you referenced, to update that amount of data many times throughout the day. So we were talking to a Fortune, what are they, like top 100 tech, kind of more tech company that wanted to use the technology. They said they had kind of tried to figure out building it on their own, and they said we can't even get our catalog of, I think, 150 million to update once a day. They're like, it takes us 3 days to update this amount of data. And, so those were the types of things that we absolutely had to solve for. But it was not anything that you can build overnight. And I think sometimes people you can think, okay, well, this can be done really quickly, or I could just build this on my own. But we had to take the time to build the relationships with the retailers and do the integrations to get the product so that it seems so seamless for our customers. That means all the heavy lifting is on our side.
All right. So that's on the tech side. Then how do you get a retailer that has spent probably billions of dollars building their e-commerce platform to say, hey, Shoppable, you have a better way. Let's use what you've got.
So the way that Shoppable positions ourselves with our retailers, we are a extension of their website. So we don't replace their own e-com website by any means. We're helping market their products on all of these other locations and surfaces. So it's incremental value, incremental sales, and new customers that would not have bought those products otherwise because that connection wasn't there and wasn't as seamless. So we're really their distribution partner. And the other piece of it for them is like I'll just like for example, we work with Walmart. We've been working with them for over a decade. And instead of them having to do an integration with any company that wants to create a shoppable experience, like we have a lot of advertisers that work very closely with Walmart, but instead of Walmart having to have their tech team and legal team and privacy and everybody go through, and the business side go through an integration for each one, we can be a single partner for them to unlock each of these experiences anywhere that the opportunity exists.
That is absolutely incredible. So then how do you charge for your services? How does Shoppable make money?
So we're a SaaS based, so we charge typically a quarterly or annual based software license, and then there's a usage based depending upon how much they're using the technology, and that scales.
For arguably, I would assume that most of our listeners aren't, let's say, the VP of purchasing at a Walmart or VP of e-commerce. So, who is an ideal bread and butter client for you who isn't, say, in the Fortune 500?
Yeah, I mean, so our likely customers kind of fit into, yeah, either kind of brands and advertising customers, or can be D2C brands, or can also be publishers, bloggers, creators that are building their own business and they want to be able to essentially sell other third-party goods, but without having to hold that inventory. That's another opportunity and use case for utilizing our technology.
That is absolutely fascinating. Can you talk a little bit about your team?
Yeah. So my team, we're primarily based in New York City, although we've got a few all over the country. But I think we've built we've built a really kind of incredible group of people that have just kind of come to us from great backgrounds within e-commerce. We've got a mix. My COO was actually someone that I pitched. He used to work at Elle magazine for Elle.com years back, and we stayed in touch, and he came on board as our chief operating officer. But yeah, we've got a really amazing team.
Can you track, and are you allowed to disclose how much in total sales you've driven?
I'm not allowed to disclose, but it's substantial at this point. We've been operating for about 12 years.
I would imagine with some of the retailers you're working with, you're probably talking somewhere in like the 9-figure, 10-figure ballpark.
Something like that.
Something like that. Fair enough. With all the success you've been able to achieve, what's your biggest challenge now?
Good question. I mean, I would say our biggest challenge at this point in time is really around being able to move faster with a variety of different partnerships. So historically, Shoppable's been integrated into different types of individual websites and experiences. We're on CTV and stuff like that now too. So like streaming TV ads, you're using Shoppable. But what we're really focused on is expanding our partnerships and so that we can do a single integration on our side and then create a additional shoppable layer across many different experiences with these partners.
That is absolutely incredible. You'll be like the e-commerce pipeline that powers the internet.
Hopefully.
Well, your passion is obvious. What do you like best about what you're doing?
I mean, I think it's really as an entrepreneur, I just love being able to see something come to fruition from nothing. I think it's really rewarding and really exciting. And I would say that one of my favorite things now is that there's really the space for this type of technology has finally caught up with what we're doing. When I first started it, everyone kind of was like, we don't operate that way. And this idea of no, people want to buy stuff, they can just come to our website. That's what it's there for. And this concept of commerce everywhere and commerce media and all of these other types of shoppable ads and things like that has now caught up with where we saw this going. So that just makes it that much more exciting. That's okay, now it's arrived. Now people are understanding it. And we're here and we're ready to serve anybody that needs it.
That is awesome. For our folks who are watching and listening and want to learn more, where is the best place for us to send them?
Shoppable.com is the best place. You can also find me on LinkedIn, Heather Udo.
Awesome. Well, this has been Seth Green with Heather Udo from Shoppable.com. Heather, we know your time is incredibly valuable. Thank you so much for spending some of it with us.
Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. Thank you everyone for watching or listening. We will talk to you or see you next time.
Why do so many businesses struggle while others seem to explode overnight? Do you wish you had the secret to this type of exponential growth? Now, I've scaled more than 20 businesses to over $100 million, and it's not just luck. In my new book with Mark Tim, Mentor to Millions, you'll learn the repeatable framework I use in all my business ventures for massive success. Order at kevinmentor.com and get over $1,000 in bonuses. Head to kevinmentor.com.